Hi everyone, thanks for stopping by my channel. Today I wanted to share my latest journal that has taken me forever to do because the Northwest Indiana was hit by derecho, which is, I've never heard of it before in my life, but it's basically, it's like a tornado. It's not worse than a tornado, but it's larger and it's more widespread, and it's 100-mile-per-hour winds, and it's straight line winds, which means that cover hundreds of miles, which means it takes out complete rows of trees, and it looks like a war zone around here in my little neck of the woods. And we're kind of near the dunes, and it messed up trails on the dunes, walking trails, and it's just a mess. And of course, it hasn't been on the news, which I can't understand why not. But we had power outages still happening, a few towns from us, but we were without power for 8 days. Thank goodness for generators. But then there was the gas crisis, which, you know, hundreds of cars lined up for gas lines. Anyway, we got through it. Everything's fine. My mom's doing real well, mom and brother. And anyway, I couldn't create because I didn't have internet. Although I had the generator, didn't have the internet, so I couldn't print anything. Or anyway, it's been a mess. But I did finally get it finished, and I've been busy cleaning up. We lost trees and such in our yard. Thankfully, no building damages. So I finally got around to filming this, and it is a sea theme, beach theme journal, and it just came to me one night. I was just thinking of all the years when I was young. My mom, she loved, you know, sunbathing, and we always went to the beach since we were so close. We were there probably 4 times a week. When Dad was working. And anyway, it just reminded me of those simpler times, and everything was just so peaceful, and the beaches were clean. And so this is childhood mixed with some pretty women, or beach women photos. So anyway, I haven't really named it yet, but this, oh, I forgot to write it down. Oh, darn it. I will write it underneath this video. I had shared some pictures of when I was gathering my pages that I wanted to use, and this sweet lady put this poem in the comments, and I asked her if I could have permission to use it. It's perfect for this journal. I needed to put it on the cover. And it's somewhere between the sea and memory. Childhood is still waiting with a shell in its hands. And that, it's really, excuse me, it's very touching. Sorry, I didn't think I'd get emotional, but it's true. Okay, let me get a drink of water. Okay, so I used several digital kits or parts of kits from several people, which I will list below, but a few of them are Sweetpea Curiosities. I used her Shell Girls, love them. Sam Pool Designs, BlubellDesign, DigitalDesignByKasia, Dust and Paper Company. There's just a lot, so I will put them under. And if you do need to know specifically what page or picture, if you wanted to purchase the kit, just let me know and I will find it. I'll look for it. So let's get started. I did put a piece, this is probably disturbing everybody because it's so shiny, but I did put a very thin piece of mica over top of this so it wouldn't get harmed with, like, if it has splatters, if she decides to set it on her coffee table. And I used a seashell, which I dyed ecru, lace applique. and then some tiny little seashells. And I put a piece of lace over top of the light blue silk dupe peony, and then some cheesecloth. Okay, so let's get inside. And I tied it with a simple seam binding. So under the front cover, I put a pocket, and in the pocket, I just placed a pretty piece of journaling paper. And this, I just recently found this little kit. This is a mermaid purse, and it's double-sided, and it has little tags, a little bottle with a scroll in it, and it's just a cute little kit that I just found. A treasure chest, and then this little, I thought this was so cute. I just put a little piece of Velcro, and you open this little seashell, and it has pearl seashell. Well, it's an oyster shell, and it has pearl little note cards. I think there's 3 of them. Yes, there's 3 of them. And I thought they were so cute. So you could tuck away some little secret notes. And that just fits right inside the purse. So I'm pretending this is a little mermaid purse that one of the little girls found along the seashore. And this page, I love this page. It's so light and airy, and I found several old music papers, so I used sparkling water just to embellish, and some vintage lace. I think I'm just going to leave it down instead of up and down. I know that probably drives you crazy. And under this little girl, I put some journaling cards. I printed cream on the backs of, I believe, all of my journaling cards, so it wasn't stark white. And just such pretty images. And of course I used some laces I've dyed and some natural. And some rubber stamps here and there. And little pockets with cheesecloth on them. And this little girl is so sweet. Little piece of vintage lace. It has a tiny little bead, which I believe, I think this was a wedding bodice, but it had tiny little beads and sequins on it. It's just so old, it just basically fell apart. But she's just so cute. And just a little piece of the washi tape to bring in the blue beach type theme. And this little envelope, I think, yeah, I did put a piece of Velcro on it, and I put in a little envelope of seashells, little seashell note tags, or note cards, which I always find handy for dates, just to jot down a date and what it was for. And under this little tab is a little quote, and this little girl, I put a piece of polka dot, you can hardly see it, but it's polka dot chiffon, a scarf, chiffon scarf. And then I had found these little fingernail decorations, which are metal, and they're little seashells. So I just added that on there for fun. There's some more lace. And under this pocket, I just added some journaling cards. I just recently found those too. I love that spool with the lace. And then some nice long tags and a couple of little checks. Beach-themed checks. I thought those were cute. And I love these, how it's just layered in the design. And again, another pretty page of the children watching the boat sailing. And I made several of these, I'm going to have to lift it, several of these little clusters after watching Uniquely Ella, Marlene. She made a lot of clusters one day, and I love making clusters, but I had forgotten about making them. So I put a tiny little seashell on there, and then just, this actually is so cool because it's from a book, by a bound book, the spine. You can see the glue on it. And it was this stripe, which I love the stripe with the beach. Of course, you can tell from my shirt. I love the blue and white stripes for the beach because it was always so popular. Well, here you go. There's a little tint that you would get change into your swimsuit. Anyway, so those are some clusters that are on the edges. And here's one of the Sweetpea Curiosity shell girls. I love that. And just a little piece of vintage lace. And that cute little girl. Another pretty page. And this is a vintage ledger that my friend Leslie recently gave me from Michigan. And I love this large photo. And I'm sorry, but I don't know where she came from. Put a piece of washi on one of the tags from one of the kits and some sheer chiffon, dyed chiffon. And this little vintage music sheet that I just put on, I printed lines on the other side for journaling, but it's floating down the stream of time. And it's a nice hard journaling card. But I just love her. And under this pocket, I put some of the printed, one of the kits had several of these collaged, like layered tags with the sea glass, which I would collect, especially after my father passed. My mother and I would walk along the shore basically every day except for Sunday, and we would collect mermaid tears, we call them, and just the smooth glass, beach glass, sea glass. But we've got tons of it. I gave my daughter-in-law probably, oh my goodness, I don't know how many containers full, big containers, because she loves it as well. But that was our pastime, and we would talk and cry and just, you know, get through it. There goes my throat again. Sorry, girls. Let me get a drink. And this is the other side of the oh my goodness. Sorry about that. The other side of the ledger from my friend Leslie. And some more pretty cards, journaling cards. Here's another of the little clusters inspired by Uniquely Ella. A little piece of vintage dotted Swiss. And just a couple little journaling cards here. And I did put out through the journal some sayings. Oh my goodness, this is irritating. I am so sorry. I thought I was over it for today, but anyway, I did use some laces on some of the edges, and I did leave several spots for journaling. I love this little cottage by the sea, which I added some really sweet journaling cards. Again, the layered digitals. It's pretty. And in his, now this is Shabby Art Boutique. This is from several years ago when I purchased one of her kits from Shabby Art Boutique. Actually, I was on her design team for a while, and that's when I got that. And I just added some nice little journaling cards. And again, there's some little stars, which I'm saying are starfish, little earrings on this little girl, nail charms. And then some more little small journaling cards. And in this little pocket, bathing machine token. I think that's cute. It's just a little girl flying a kite on the beach or on the ocean front. Little holiday notes. And a couple postage stamps tucked in this little fabric. And a gal just walking toward the ocean, and this little uptuck. Notice ladies on beach must wear bloomers. And that is from Shabby Art Boutique as well. And there's that little girl. Of course, they didn't have these when I was small. I'm not that old. They didn't have the changing tints, FYI. So I kind of made this this layout about the changing tints. So here, the bathing suit, you'd go in and change, the men in one, women in another, and then the tints. They went, and the Victorians would swim and such at the beach, but they didn't stay in the sun. They didn't tan because it was just, back then it was a no-no, because it showed that the women didn't have to work outside, like, you know, in the garden and stuff. They weren't exposed to the sunshine. If they had a tan, it was looked down upon, which is crazy. It just meant that the women who had tans were workers. Isn't that silly? There's so many silly things. Anyway, this is just a nice journaling card. Flip out, and this comes out. It's just a little lighthouse viewing ticket that you'd have to get to go in and see the lighthouse and climb to the top. And these little, this is just a little poem about the water, or pebbly sand or something like that. And I put in this, I put some tissue paper around it, some aged tissue paper with the little children with their mothers, gathered shells in days before. I threw them one by one away. And then these little girls, all ready to go swimming, I put a little string of pearls here. It says pretty as a pearl. And that could be my grandmother, Pearl, and her sister, Ruby. It was Ruby and Pearl, which when I found the designer, Ruby and Pearl, I just thought that was so neat. And I love her digitals. But my grandmother was Pearl, and her sister was Ruby. And this is the second signature, and there are 3 in here. Yes, 3. I thought there were 4, but I thought there were 4. Nope, there's 3. Okay, so there's this little girl from the Sweetpea Curiosities. I put a piece of mica over top of a hydrangea from my garden. She sells seashells by the seashore. A little piece of vintage lace and then some tissue. And that just opens up. This is a page. I think I got this from Sam Poole, but I'm not sure. It was embossed on this side, and it's the sea. I'm not sure. It's a book page. I love it, but it had to go in here. And then just a little girl with a collection of her seashells tucked in this beautiful shell, fussy cut. And on this side, it was blank, and I just added this little shell girl, collected by the sea, and then put in some little shell notes. For some more little secret messages. And then we turn the page, and again, several journaling cards and stamps and tickets and what have you to jot little notes or dates on. Those are always fun. And this side, this is Parasol Hire. And they're just little parasol note cards that you can write little notes on. I think they're so pretty. Aren't they pretty? And they just tuck in this little ticket so you can rent a parasol so you don't get sunburnt for the day. And this side is filled with little stamps with parasols on them. Several of those tucked in. Oh, I didn't leave that open. But they tuck all right in there. And then a couple larger pieces. Looks so peaceful because the page is parasols. It's just pretty papers. And some I printed on linen, and some I just used the smooth paper. A little rubber stamp. In this pocket, I put a Shells of Ocean, an old, a vintage piece of a music page, and then another pretty journaling paper. And I wanted to keep the light beachy pastel theme. I didn't want any really bright colors. And these little journaling cards, I thought were so fun. I had to do the fussy cuts. I used a shell for this extra little pocket, but I used the basket as the pocket of the things that you would take to the beach with you. Of course, sunglasses and a camera, which now is our phones, flip-flops, and a sun hat. I thought that was kind of fun. I love this page. It's beautiful. I love pastels. And this little cottage has a little shorebird, a cottage by the sea, and it has a little cottage in it, and a seaside lodge, so you could rent it, and cottage by the sea, a little ticket. A little bit of cheesecloth, plenty of journaling space, a beautiful shell page, love that. And very, very, very old vintage lace. And another little girl that I covered with the aged tissue paper, Fun in the Sun, little piece of cheesecloth, and a little ticket. A couple little tickets here. And this, I love her. She's so cute. So I put a little souvenir tag here and used it to put this cute little tag, which has little mermaid beach glass, sea glass. I thought that was so cute, but I love her. To Eileen with love from Marjorie. It just flips out for journaling. She looks like she has quite the attitude. I bet she would be hard to get off the beach to go home. I remember we kind of threw fits. Me and my brothers, we did not want to leave the beach. So my mom coaxed us, beautiful, coaxed us with an ice cold Dr. Pepper on the way home. They had, it used to be a post office. They turned it to a little store, and they had a huge barrel filled with ice, and it was so cold, the Dr. Peppers and the colas, there was knee-high orange and all that stuff, but they had ice formed in it, and it was so good. So that's how she got us to go home. Let's go, we can get a Dr. Pepper. So anyway, a little bling on this lace, and some more journaling cards and stamps with sea creatures and shells. And this journaling card, In Praise of Water, it's a book, song book, music book page, piece of washi, and I just put that on there. And it sparkled for it. I can't even read that. I can't believe I can't read that. But anyway, it was just a pretty, I can't remember whose sayings these were, but of course they will be under piece of old tape. actually authentic tape. I did not make that tape. Sometimes you're lucky and you can find old papers and photo albums and stuff that has the tape in it that's aged already. And a little collection of sea glass. And this little hut here has a little journaling card. And I took some little sailboat fussy cuts to use as a belly band. Put this is the one that's on the cover. That would be me and my little brother. And I had 2 older brothers, or have 2 older brothers. My little brother passed away. Here's another cluster. And it has a piece of, this looks like seaweed to me. I recently got these, I think it was from my friend and fellow Sampool Design member, Gail from Shabby Cottage Studio. I believe she purchased a grouping of charms from Etsy, and I just thought they were just so neat, so I put in an order, and they're larger than we thought they were, but they're still going to be fun to use. And then a piece of very old tatting, and there's that little dotted Swiss again. But that's a reason why I love to watch videos and interact with the journal makers, because you learn so many little things that you could, buy for your collection. Oh, actually, here they are, right here in front of me. Here they are, little pearls, strands of pearls on metal chain, and then I also, it's out of reach, but I have the rhinestones as well, and they're just so cute. I love that they're so tiny and delicate. Anyway, so here's a little swimmer, a little vintage lace. And this, I started pulling it out of a vintage lace piece, and it turned into circles, so I just left it. I just thought it could be kind of fun. A little journaling card. And a little ruffle on the side. And under here, I put a piece of mica to use as the photo cover. And it's just a little girl with her shovel going to dig in the sand. We used to dig and dig and dig until we got to the water, and it would pool up, and then we would build the castle around it. Most people built the castles and did the moat, but we did the opposite. This cute little girl is just a flip up with some washi tape. And these cute little girls, that has some vintage tape on it as well. I thought they were cute. I could just see my mom and her sister cherished days. But my mom and her sister, they played in the creeks of West Virginia instead. They would go wading in the creeks, and they would, on their way to school, they would they would start at the top, and they would slide down because the rocks had oh darn, I can't think of the name of it. The green stuff. And they would slide down on the rocks because they were so slippery, because they were not supposed to do that. But yeah, when they got home, they were in trouble because their bottoms were green, but they had fun. So this, that's one of her favorite stories. This little girl is drawing. She's sketching. And there's I think that's I don't know what that is. I thought it was a swordfish, but I don't know what it is. Anyway, this ended up being her sketch. This is what she drew. She just used her imagination. She sketched the boat, and then with her imagination, she went ahead and did a little town and the beach and all that, which is something that I would have always loved to do. My mom can paint. She used to oil paint and draw, and I didn't get that talent from her. I don't know if I got a talent at all, but I did get the love of gardening, flower gardens and stuff from her and my dad, so that's good. That's good enough. And here's another little girl with the shell. I love her expression. Some more lace, a newer lace. Some muslin, or not muslin, cheesecloth, and more pockets, or another pocket with more journaling cards and a receipt. And these you can actually use as bookmarks, or you can put them somewhere as a belly band, or just use them as journaling cards, whatever you wish. A woman with her children. Could you imagine wearing all of that to the beach just to change into a swimsuit? But of course their swimsuits were kind of like clothing. They weren't really swimsuits. Just some more a little cluster here. Some polka dotted sari with a little gold accent, some cheesecloth, and a little anchor charm. And under this, I have 2 pieces of journaling paper. I think these are so pretty. I love how delicate and light. They're just so airy, like the beach. Just a nice, relaxing, calm colors. And I put some bling on these, like the reflections of the water with the sun shining down. And this little doily is a pocket or a tuck spot with another piece of paper for writing a story or just jotting notes. And then I usually sew them, but I didn't. I glued these little pearls on a mermaid pearl card, and I just thought that would be just a fun little accent. You can write on the back. And here's another hidden little pocket. And this is Sand Pool. I do know that because it is one of my favorites. I just love that scenery, that background. It's so pretty with the Victorian children playing in the sand with their little outfits on. Oh my goodness, they had to be hot, 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 hot. And this, I love this, how cute. Beach Babe with the little children with their buckets, probably filled with treasures that they found along the shore. Plenty of journaling space, another little poem or saying, and another cluster with some vintage dyed lace, vintage lace, a stamp, and just a little saying. Love as deep as the sea. And I tucked them in here for now because it's going to have a long trip and I don't want them. Sometimes I take them off and put them in a bag, put them in separate, but I'm putting it this way because it's going to have to go through customs, and I hope they don't think that it's seeds or something and take everything apart. They did that once. They just tore up a comfort doll and took out all the lavender, and oh, it was infuriating. If you put the description exactly what it is, that should be good enough, but I don't know. There's people that ruin it for everybody by sending drugs and illegal stuff. So anyway, that's my rant. This is just a simple little tag. It's just a little card. It's just so cute with that little boat. So I just tucked it up in the another little boat tag. These, all I did with her was put on some real fine cotton that it was dyed a pale blue. Look, she's so cute. There's a little outfit on and digging, putting in her pail. It just says tides and tails. So tides and tails. And just a cute little note card. Chase your dreams, you might catch one. And this large shell here, I just love that. I think that's my favorite picture. It's like a child and her mother walking the shore. This with the shell is just holds the envelope that I placed some shell journaling cards in for fun. I like little whimsical, fun surprises tucked here and there that you might not expect. And this, where the sea nymphs play, is just a flip out, and I backed it with another vintage solid paper. And then we come to the back, which just has, I put my little thing on there with a postage stamp and a little girl rubber stamp looking in the water. And this just has a crown filled with seashells. And this is a jar full of sand and shells with lace tied around it. And that is it. That is my little sea or beach theme journal that's going to be headed out very soon. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope everybody, if anyone else is here in the Northwest Indiana area, I hope you are safe and got your mess cleaned up. So everyone take care, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.